president has, quote, committed to creating an unprecedented level of openness in government, end quote. Those were his words. But that is not the case when it comes to filling FOIA requests. The backlog of FOIA claims has more than doubled since the president has taken office.
That was House Oversight and Government Reform Committee Chair Jason Chaffetz pushing back against the Obama administration over the Freedom of Information Act. In a hearing on journalists and watchdog groups being wrapped up in red tape trying to get information. Well, this year alone, the government denied or censored nearly 250,000 documents in more than 700,000 requests. And at times, what they do get comes with threats.
I filed a FOIA request. They refused to comply with my FOIA request. They said it was too broad. I narrowed it. They still said it was too broad. I sued them. Recently, they said that we'll give you some documents as long as you promise to never file a FOIA request again and don't have anyone else file a FOIA request.
How is that
behalf.
legal?
I don't know, but they put this in writing.
Monica Crowley is the online opinion editor for the Washington Times and a Fox News contributor. It was eye-opening to listen to this testimony that's been happening from journalists and watchdog groups saying, look, you know, they're just stonewalling us. What's going on?
Well, and to hear this reporter say, look, the request I put in for the Pentagon, they said, we'll give you these documents if you promise never to ask through FOIA requests again for more documents. This is how this administration has rolled. And what's fascinating, and also should be really disturbing to every American, is that the transparency promised by President Obama in 2008 was such a critical part of his brand that he was going to bring a new kind of politics to Washington. He was complaining and attacking President Bush for being very secretive, and Vice President Cheney. He said he was going to change all of that. And now what we've seen 6.5 years in is that he has done the exact opposite. He is actually the most untransparent president and White House in U.S. history. And reporters and others who are trying to get at the truth of what this administration has done and what they are currently doing cannot get it, which means that the public can't get it.
Exactly. And I'm going to get to that in just a moment. I want you to listen, though, to other journalists testifying. Listen to this.
Federal bureaucrats paid tax dollars to act on our behalf routinely break the law with impunity, as if treating public material as if it's confidential, secret information to be controlled by a chosen few. They withhold it from the public, its rightful owners, while sharing it with select partners.
The larger problem that we face, though, right now is that our role of objectively collecting and reporting the facts has been increasingly and aggressively blocked.
So I guess my question to you, Monica, is if you cannot get information from the FOIA requests, basically the public's in the dark.
Right, which is exactly what this administration wants, which is why they've stonewalled all of these FOIA requests, or at the very least have slow-walked the requests. Look, this administration has done so many things time and again over the years, Gretchen, where they have taken major policy issues, whether it's Obamacare or even more recently, this trade bill, and they've blocked it from the public eye. Remember Nancy Pelosi saying about Obamacare, we have to pass it to know what's in it. Members of Congress on the trade bill have to go into a private locked room to read this massive bill. And I think the reason is why that this administration, this president, is so far to the left. He's so radical in so many of his policies that if Congress and the American people and reporters were actually telling the public what was in these bills or what this administration was really doing, they would lose support pretty quickly for all of these initiatives. And even now, the fact that they're stonewalling so much tells me this president is now in legacy building mode. So even the past policies or going forward, he still doesn't want the public to know because it might disturb the legacy building enterprise he's engaged in.
Well, it's very dangerous territory. Monica Crowley, thank you so much.
You bet.
Time now for my take on this. This country was founded on freedoms, and one of those is for people in this great nation to know how the government is run. We, after all, are paying the bills. So if you've paid attention at all to these hearings on Capitol Hill this week about the problems journalists have had time and time again trying to get information from our government, information not classified, by the way, and going through all the right requests, you may start to wonder if one of the basic tenets this country was founded on is changing. Cheryl Atkinson, formerly of CBS News, testified that FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, is a broken system not by accident but by design. Another reporter that you just heard said the Pentagon only agreed to give up documents he had requested many times if he promised never to submit another FOIA request. Really? The argument supporting why there's such a long delay in getting docs out to journalists is that because of agency budget cuts, there simply are enough people to do the job. So do you agree with that? And more importantly, after these hearings, do you think anything will change?